Instagram kicks you out.
Yeah.
They do that. It's not the Wi-Fi. Instagram does that a lot.
Now people gotta come
It's
back.
okay. It's okay. We're fine. We're fine.
Okay, now people
We're
come
If they
back.
know what's best for them, they better come back.
Hey guys,
Hi
sorry.
guys, sorry, the Wi-Fi. Okay, everybody's back now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You want to wait for 2 more people, or should we start talking?
Okay, I think we should start.
Okay. Auntie, people can hear you. People laughing at you. They're laughing. I don't know. Is it calm? All right. Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey.
All right. So we're gonna start by introducing ourselves, and then we'll start. So I'll start with me because most of you guys already know us already. Well, know me already. So my name is Cherise. I have cerebral palsy. As you guys know, I guess I'll just introduce my work. So I'm a mental health counselor. I see clients for mental health issues, and I just started advocating for, I guess, people of all disabilities, but more specifically people with CP. And I thought that it would be a good idea to bring awareness for CP, because I noticed as I gotten older, people have a lot of questions. And so I thought we should take this time to kind of sit on here and answer some of the questions that you guys may have, or people may have, anything that you guys are curious about. So yeah, that's me. And Charlene.
Hi, I'm Charlene. I'm 35 years old, and I also have CP. I am a therapist. I have a LCSW, which means I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I currently provide therapy full time, and I'm glad to be here and to be able to bring awareness to CP.
So yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna answer our own questions that we've gotten from people throughout the years of having CP, and then after we're done with that, we'll just leave it to you guys to answer ask some questions for yourself, and then we'll sit here and kind of answer. Just a quick disclaimer: we may not have all the answers to some of your questions, but if you DM us on the side and you still have those same type of questions, we could look into it ourselves and give you some of the answers that we know of. But we're gonna try our best to answer enough questions as possible by what we know. So I guess you can start.
Yeah. So I'll start by just sharing some interesting statistics about CP. Around 764,000 people in the U.S., including children and adults, have at least one symptom of CP, so cerebral palsy. Around 10,000 babies are born with CP. Between 1,200 and 1,500 school-age children are diagnosed with CP each year. CP is short for cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
So those are just some interesting statistics to know about.
So I guess one of the most common questions and some of the stuff that I've been posting on my story is, what is cerebral palsy? So cerebral palsy is just a brain damage to your brain, whether it's a brain bleed or some type of stroke or anything. It could either happen in your mom's tummy during pregnancy or while she's currently having you. So once you get that damage, it could affect body movements, muscle movements, anything with hand-eye coordination and balance issues as well. For various people, it affects different things. So for me, I think my brain bleed is on the right side of my brain, so everything on my left side is weak. And then for Charlene?
for me, so with the information I have is that I was fine up until 7 months, and then at 7 months, my mom went into premature labor. And due to that, there was either too much or too little oxygen to my brain.
Yeah. And then for my mom, she had me also premature at 6 months, I think. And then the pressure of her pushing me out caused my brain bleed. And then that is how I got some of my issues. But because I was born premature, I was really small. So they were more focused on expanding my life because I only had like 2 weeks or 3 weeks to live. So they didn't discover my brain bleed till about maybe 7 months, anywhere from 7 months to a year, because they noticed that I wasn't walking or utilizing my legs at all. I was using my arms to crawl, so that caused them to go back to the doctors, get the brain scan, and that's when they discovered my brain bleed, and then everything else followed.
Yeah, for me, it was similar. At 6, so no one realized that I had issues until about 6 months. I believe, if I'm correct, my grandmother realized it. She had told my mother that she thought I wasn't developing normally, and then my mom had brought me in to get checked, and that's when they diagnosed me with CP or cerebral palsy.
Yeah. And then I guess we also answered the question of like what causes CP. So like we said, damage to the brain. There have been some people that have said that they have had strokes in their mom's belly while their mom was pregnant with them. So that's something that I recently discovered. But yeah, it's mostly just brain damage to the brain. For some people, the brain damage is a lot worse, where you can have like multiple issues, things like speech impediment, weakness. Some people have to stay in wheelchairs. Some people can walk. It really just depends on what your mobility is, how much practice you put into it, things like that. I guess another question is the different types of equipments that we use. Me and Charlene use pretty much different things. Charlene uses...
I use crutches. So when I was younger, I was in a wheelchair. I was wheelchair bound for most of my young life, and then eventually, like Cherie said, with work and exercise, you can improve your muscle. So I eventually transitioned from the wheelchair to the walker, and I used that for a long time. And honestly, when I went to high school, I didn't want to use the walker anymore. So I made a choice to put in the hard work to use crutches, and now that's what I use primarily.
I started out in the wheelchair, and then my dad didn't want me to be lazy anymore and actually hid the wheelchair from me and let me practice every day. So after my surgery, I was in the wheelchair for a couple of years. I was very young, maybe about 4 or 5 years old. And then I think once I got into like at least 2nd grade, he made me practice with the walker every day. So the walker is what you guys see me with all the time. I changed my walkers throughout the years. So I had the silver one as the one you guys see on some of the videos. And then I moved to a more convenient one that was a lot more smaller and more mobile as well. So yeah, so those are some of the equipment we use. The next question is it hereditary? Hereditary. Sorry, I'm so sorry. And that's a big question for everybody, because a lot of people think that because we have cerebral palsy that we're gonna have kids that have cerebral palsy, but it does not work like that. It is not hereditary. It's not contagious. We don't pass it on to people. It's kind of by chance. If you get a very successful pregnancy, your kid will be a very healthy baby. Sometimes with pregnancy there's a lot of complications, so you may have a child with cerebral palsy, depending on how your pregnancy is going to be. But we cannot pass on cerebral palsy to our children.
And I personally know people that have CP and have children, and their children don't have any type of delays.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another question too. Like, does it cause mental delays along with the physical one? So again, it depends on the person or the damage to your brain. For some people with cerebral palsy, they do have some mental issues. For some, it's just physical. I know that for a lot of people, because they see us physically challenged, that they think that a lot of us have the mental issues as well, but not all of us. So it's something that we usually either have to test out, or I don't know. It just takes it takes time as you go on throughout the years, but that doesn't happen to all of us. No. I know in school, they forced me to be in special education classes because they thought I had a mental disability.
The same with me.
But the thing is that sometimes they don't want to test you. They don't want to give you a test. You're supposed to get a test to see if you can pass a certain grade, or like see if you're mentally challenged or anything like that. But sometimes, because the way that people assume, they place you in special education classes. And eventually, when I was in the special education classes every year till about 4th grade, they would notice that I'm like passing with flying colors, and then they'll say, hey, I think she doesn't need to be here, and then move me to a regular class.
Yeah.
Charlene?
And it was very similar to me. I think my mom would know more information about this, but I think for a while, like I kind of, it was a question whether I should be in special education or regular education. And my mom was a great advocate for me in terms of what was best for me. And because she fought so hard, I definitely was in mainstream. I know in junior high school there was this question. They put me into like this class that was mainstream and also kind of special education. That's the only time I remember. But I think it's very important to have advocacy, because when you do have that, people will fight for you because they know you beyond the judgments of, you know,
Definitely.
the school and
I
stuff
would
like
say if you definitely have support, there are people that will fight for you. My dad is number one. Definitely fought for me through a lot of different things when it came to school. So yeah, and we've both made it throughout the years of education. We've graduated. Yeah. We have our masters, so we're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
But again, like we said, it's not the case for everyone.
For everyone.
CP is a spectrum. So
yeah,
you kind of have to, once your child is here, then that's when you'll know what you are like looking at specifically.
I think the last question was about aging.
Treatments or medications. There's no cure for CP, unfortunately. I think there's research to say that they've tried over the years, but when it comes to brain damage, there's nothing really that you can do but physical therapy. As you guys saw like one of my videos, like I go to see my trainer. There are like, I guess, underlying conditions that people take medication for. So people who have like seizures can take medications for their seizures and things like that, or like pain relief, because we are in pain. At least for me, I'm in pain at least once a day. Charlene?
It happens often. I think when you don't exercise and you don't build that muscle, you do often experience pain, and with age also comes pain. So yes, it is on and off for me.
Yeah. So there's not much treatment or like medications that you could take. And then with aging, Charlene?
With aging, I'm a little older than Sharice. So I guess I won't take this question. So yes, I do see that with age, things become harder. But I think that is connected to how much work you put in. So when I am working out and eating right and going to physical therapy, you know, and walking, I experience less pain, less tightness. When I'm lazy, I work from home. Honestly, I'm lazy sometimes. When I'm lazy and I don't do things that I know I should, of course, I experience back pain, hip pain. So yes, it does happen sometimes.
And actually piggybacking off of her, I know one of the other questions is, does CP get worse? It can if you are extremely lazy. There is a risk for paralysis if you do not move. Like if you're not a very active person, if you're not walking every day, your muscles can get really tight to the point they don't longer move. They just stay very still. So like we talked about some people who are in a wheelchair, unfortunately, if you don't start moving, like after you recover from surgery, you can become paralyzed and stay in the wheelchair for the rest of your life. But it's mostly because like people don't have the education or like know a lot of information on what they should do after surgery. Because to be honest, once you're born, people will say, or doctors will say like, oh, like she's not gonna do anything for the rest of her life. She's not gonna be able to walk. She's not gonna be able to get a job. She's not gonna be able to. So then like once you start believing those things, you don't allow your child to really, I guess, move on with life, you know, like learn different things. So it really just depends. Like you have to, it's something that you really have to educate yourself on. I know from my dad, he said that like you have to look a lot into science. You have to really understand like what motor skills go behind it, what brain damage can do, what like anything. So I think if you take the time to really educate yourself on it, if you are to have a child like us who have CP, this is something that you should consider.
And I want to say I agree. So when I was born, at least from what, and my mom is watching, so I'm sure she will comment. But from what I know from her, like it was very similar. The doctors told her I wouldn't walk, I wouldn't talk, I wouldn't be able to do anything. And I believe, you know, I have faith, and you know, so I believe faith along with education, like Cherise said, along with a lot of hard work is what really does help your child succeed. I remember like after surgery, what Cherise said, like if you don't move after surgery, you can lose what you already have. Or what, you know, so I remember my mom like pushing me and like forcing me into the shower. I remember those things, right? And like at that time I was like so upset at her, but now looking back at it, I could see the reasons why she pushed me, right? Because if she didn't do that, I probably wouldn't have the mobility I do have. So I do agree, like with science, and if you have faith, you know, and if you have a good advocacy, a good support system, that you definitely can help your child be successful. Because I'm talking, I'm walking, I have a master's, you know, so I have a lot of things. But that's because, and Cherise is the same way, but that's because we have a great support system.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. I think you definitely need people who will push you, because much like Charlene's mom, my dad pushed me every day. I didn't want to do half of the things that he did, but now being older, I really appreciate, like, again, a lot of the little things that we get to learn. Like, some of you guys saw the videos of, like, people being able to hold plates and putting it in the dish. Like, that's something that's really important to us. Or, like, putting on our clothes or putting on our shoes. Like, you know, all these little things don't seem like, you know, anything to a lot of able-bodied people, because it's something that you learn as second nature, but it takes a lot more effort for people like us, and I think it's really good to learn. So yeah.
My mom just commented, she said, and I would get beating just like my other siblings, which is true. So I think there is a point of like treating your child with CP as similar as you can to the other children, right? Because we do things differently, but that doesn't mean we can't do it.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. You know, that's one thing I think my parents really taught me. Is like, I know that I can't do things like able-bodied people. So I found different ways to do them. So it may be different from you guys, but it works for us, and we're still able to accomplish them.
Yeah, and giving us a chance, right? Because sometimes you have to let us learn on our own. So there were times that I fell, that my mom and dad were pretty upset. Oh, why don't you just use the walker? Like, you know, but like they allowed me to try. They allowed me to learn by experience. So giving your children a chance, you know, not doing everything for them. You know, my mom, you know, now because I'm an adult, she likes to spoil me. But when I was growing up, she let me do things on my own and learn that independence. So that would be my, you know, advice.
I guess so. Like, that's some of the questions that we wanted to answer. But if you guys do have some questions, we would love to hear. So we see a question.
Yes.
Does it take extra focus to move different parts of your body? It actually does.
It does.
It
does.
It feels like you have to really tell your brain, like, okay, like, really move. And sometimes, like, it won't happen. So at least for me, the left, like I said before, the left side of my body is weak. So there are actually some movements on my left side of my foot that I cannot do compared to my right. Like, no matter how much I try, it's not moving. So it really does take extra strength and extra practice to really get those parts of your body to move.
Yes, and I agree with Sharice. So the left side of my body is much stronger than my right side. So to make my right side move, it takes more mental, like literally a conversation. You have to tell yourself. I have them here.
I want to like it. Like what she said. I can't think of it.
Okay, I like it. So it takes more effort. Like, I literally have to have a conversation with myself to literally make my right side moving.
Charlene, you have a question.
I have a question.
Very
How is living on your own? What are some struggles you deal with? That's a great question. Is that Flawless Jones?
Yes.
So thank you for answering that. So yes, I mean, moving on my own was a big, scary choice of mine. And similar to what Sharice said earlier, it was a learning process. So there are things I need help with, like laundry. Like, physically lifting laundry is hard for me, so I have somebody pick it up and drop it off. Cleaning the house is challenging, so I do it in little spurts. Like, I might do a day of a bathroom or the day of a living room. Garbage is challenging, so I do it little by little. But there's ways you learn around it. But those are the main struggles for me. But there's always ways around it. You can ask people for help. I have a great support system if I'm really feeling tired or not up to it. I call my brothers, I call my mother, they come over, they help. But I always allow myself to try it first before I ask for help. There's no questions
so
coming in.
I see another question that says, how often do you find yourself focusing on movement while doing daily activities? So that's similar to what Charlene said. Everything has to be like adapted and modified to like the way that I do things. So I would say, for example, like, I know if I do a long activity for a long time, my waist really hurts and my foot really hurts. So I try to do it consistently so that I'm not accumulating a lot of stuff. So things like dishes, like, I'll try to do it in between times because I don't want to stay there for too long. Maybe showers too. I try my best not to take too long showers, but I use a shower chair to help, and then a rail. Charlene, do you know any other ones?
An activity that takes me longer to kind of build up the stamina to do. I mean, honestly, walking is, so I have to be very mindful of like what I choose. Like, if I'm walking to the store that's like 10 blocks away, I can do it.
I have to tell myself, like, let me go ahead of time at the start to go ahead.
Because it takes longer. So what might take a person without CP 5 minutes to walk 10 blocks, it could take me 10 minutes,
Right.
So I have to plan ahead of time.
Yeah.
Just like this morning, I had a lot to do. I had to give myself extra time because I knew that walking would take extra time.
Extra time is like our best friend. Like, we need to plan a lot of things ahead of time before we can like do it the next day or things like that. Everything is about time, to be honest.
Yeah, honestly.
Even with work or something like that.
Because being tired is a symptom of having CP.
Yeah.
So I love naps. I tell people all the time, because even a 5-minute nap helps me, re-energize to be able to go on with the day.
Okay, so I like this question. It says, what are some myths about CP you hear or encounter? I hear a lot.
Yeah, Sharice, take it away.
I hear a lot. So I think we mentioned one was the fact that we could have kids with CP. Now, there is a chance, but we don't pass it on to our children, like I said before. Can we have kids? We can definitely have kids. I don't know why that's a thing, but if you have a uterus and you know how to make a baby, you have children. Let's see, another one. I think it just revolves a lot of like.
Can you work?
Oh, can we work? Yeah, I think if you can use your brain, use your hands, you know, you can definitely work. There's some jobs that that of course that we cannot do, but I know that we cannot do, but definitely if we find different like jobs that we could definitely do. Any more myths or anything?
Can you go to school? We are
Yeah.
we are both.
Can we go to school? We both have our masters.
We both have
so
can we be in relationships?
we definitely could be in
We
relationships.
both have had relationships.
Unless, as long as the person has an open mind, we definitely can.
Yeah.
But there's so many different questions within that too.
We can get that to that a little down the line. There's more.
Can you think of any more myths? Or should I move on to the next question? No?
Yeah, I don't.
No more? If we think of any more, if it comes to me, I'll explain more. What are some home modifications that help both of you participate in daily life activities? Yeah, so shower. I have a shower chair, and my dad created a rail to hold on to in the bathroom that I use so I don't fall. Let's see.
Having enough space, I think, is very.
You definitely need space. You can't have too many obstacles.
You can't have too many obstacles.
But I will say that having some obstacles do teach me how to work with my balance a lot more.
Yes, it does.
And in New York, there's a lot of like smaller apartments,
Yes.
so you can like really learn to do. You can maneuver in that way. I'm trying to think. I feel like I had more modifications as a kid than I do now.
I agree too.
Because I feel like when you. Like, CP is not something that automatically happens to us at any age. It happens at birth. So once you start, like, knowing how to maneuver throughout your life, you no longer need the modifications sometimes. I'm trying. Do you know any?
Well, I honestly, I should be doing this more. I don't do it often, but I have a chair in the kitchen. When I cook, like standing for a long time
is
it
hard.
often bothers my knees and my ankles. So I have a high chair that I should be using more often. To sit in between cooking when I do feel like cooking. Doesn't happen
And one more thing is driving. So some of us with CP, our legs are really weak, so we can't move our feet from the gas to the brake too fast. So you get there are sticks that you could attach to the gas and the brake that you can actually press on, and they will move the car. Will help you move the car. And there's actually like a thing that you can attach to the steering wheel because our hands aren't as strong and some of our hand movements are pretty weak, so you can maneuver the steering wheel like that too. So driving, we have to go to a different driving school than the average driving school, so they could teach us how to drive with the equipment that are given to us.
And we're both doing that now.
Yeah.
And just to say, it's a little more expensive than the normal. So if you're thinking about
that's another thing about being disabled. A lot more things are a lot more expensive than the average thing because we have to pay for extra stuff.
But if you plan for it, it's definitely affordable. You know? And it's definitely it means a lot because it gives you a lot more freedom.
Oh, and since we live in New York, I could talk about Access-a-Ride. We can't take the train. We can't take the train because now all train stations have stairs. So I take Access-a-Ride. I trying to used to take Access-a-Ride too. And it's our MTA, so we can schedule rides ahead of time, book them, and they can pick us up at our locations, take us to our locations that we need to be, and it still costs $2.75. It's just that because we can't take the stairs on these trains, we can't get to the train on time. And I'm not saying that we can't use stairs, we can, but it's like by the time we have equipment with us too, like she has the crutches, I have the walker, so by the time we get downstairs, we probably gonna miss our train.
Yeah.
So we use that as well.
The next question is what is one thing you can tell somebody struggling with CP to get where you guys are today?
You gotta have a lot of faith.
A lot of faith.
A lot of faith, a lot of strength. There are gonna be some very hard times, and for me, the hard times is mostly dealing with mean people or people that don't allow you to prove yourself, I would say. So proving yourself to other people is very, very hard because people already assume a story by just seeing you. Right? They already assume all the incapabilities that you you go through all the different things, the struggles that you go through. So before you can even introduce yourself, somebody has already told themselves a story. Charlene?
I would say, have a really good support system.
Definitely.
I am so blessed with great friends and, family, etc., that really do support me. I would say also be present in the moment. If you think too far down in the future, you get very anxious.
And Charlene knows that used to be me. I met Charlene when I was 17, when I was in high school, and I always thought about the future. I was like, am I going to be able to do this? And I think I was so concentrated on the future because I was so scared that I didn't allow myself to really experience what is going on with me now and like all the accomplishments that I've made. So Charlene really helped me with that as well.
Yeah. Just be present, take one day at a time. Lean on your support, lean on your faith, lean on the knowledge you have. And, I believe you'll get through it.
Definitely. One of the other questions we have is, just to be clear, cerebral palsy can only happen during utero or during birth. Yes. So you cannot, there's not, like, people, I think sometimes when I meet people, they're always expecting, like, an extravagant story, like, if I got into an accident, like, did something happen to me? And it literally just happens during birth. So I think we were explaining earlier, like, we were both premature, and so that is like the initial reason as to why the brain damage happens. Because when you're born premature, your brain is basically like butter, right? It's very, very sensitive, and the brain is already sensitive in itself. But once you're not fully developed in utero or during birth, you can create a lot of damage to the brain that affects a lot of things in your motor skills, your body movement, anything like that. So yes, during birth and during utero.
Another question is, having a CP, you might have is it true that individuals experience the most headaches and pain in the lower extremities?
In the lower extremities? Yeah. So I don't know about Charlene, but my waist is uneven. So that also happened to me during birth. Again, the pressure of my mom pushing me out, it created uneven hips. So actually my hip is like this. So it creates very uncomfortable pain sometimes. Again, if, like Charlene said, like if you don't move a lot and things like that, your body can really become stiff. And it basically feels like you're in an old person body. And you constantly have pain all the time. So definitely, like, I don't know if you guys watched my video before, but the stretches that I do really relax some of those things and take the pressure off my body.
Yeah.
Charlene?
Stretching is big. I definitely agree that most of my uncomfortable moments in a day or a week are in the lower extremities. My hips, my knees, a lot of my ankles. But yeah.
Someone asked, how would you describe your dating life with CP?
Yeah, Trace.
To be honest, I'm gonna be very honest, it's very hard. Like I said, people are not because they don't understand, they are very scared of trying to understand and trying to be patient. Charlene, I don't know, like some of my experiences, I've experienced a lot of rude encounters, I've experienced a lot of nice things, but people have been honest with me about the fact that they cannot handle dating with someone with CP just because it's a lot on them. Charlene?
Yeah, I would agree. So I'm a little older, not much.
Yeah, we're 10 years apart, so I'm 25.
It's okay. So yes, I am 10 years older than her. So I would say, when I was younger, it was much harder because I feel like people don't have a filter. They are not as empathetic, So I definitely have went through relationships that have caused a lot of heartbreak. It has caused trust issues. I would say
that emphasis on the trust issues.
Yes. So I would say recently, as I've gotten older, but I don't think this is only about the people I'm meeting. I think it's also about how I feel about myself. I've become more confident in who I am. I began to love myself and accept myself with my flaws, without my flaws. And because of that, I feel like I've attracted better people. So now I attract people that are more open, that are more honest, that are more willing to give me a chance, right? Because
Can you guys give her some hearts, please? Like, please give her some hearts. Yes.
So now I attract people that like are willing to have the hard conversations, are willing to talk about things, and willing to see me beyond my limitation.
Yeah.
And that's what I encourage people to seek after. And I'm not saying it's easy, because till today it's still hard to trust and to open up and to really believe that somebody cares. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I would say seek that. Love yourself, accept yourself, and that's not easy. And we were talking earlier.
Yeah.
And we were saying that, like, what should we tell somebody in terms of what they need in this journey of CP? I would say the support.
Yeah.
Right? Because through the support I have, I've learned that accepting myself and loving myself, regardless if anyone does, is important. And because of that, I can now open up to people that are really good and
look at that.
Willing.
People loving what you're saying. No, definitely. Like, I had a conversation with Charlene. Like, the time that I met her, I definitely didn't have the confidence that I needed to be like where I am today. And I feel like, of course, like, she really helped. Like, she gave that hope that I can make it in life, that I can be older and still have all the things that I want. But it definitely has to do with a lot of self-confidence and being able to, like, face people and say, like, okay, this is the problem that I have. Do you have any questions? And that's the whole point of having the live today, is that we don't want people to assume. Just ask, because you'll start learning more things when you start asking questions than really assume people's story. And I think that's a big thing as well, And I know that some people feel that it may feel uncomfortable to ask someone like us questions, because maybe you feel like you're offending us, or you may not feel like you're asking a question in the right way. But I find that when I just tell people just to say it, they feel more comfortable.
Yeah. And it opens up a very honest conversation. You can't understand someone if you're not willing to be honest and vulnerable with them. I'm not saying the questions will be easy to ask, but they're worth asking.
Yeah, definitely. But I loved what Charlene said. Self-confidence has everything to do with it, and I feel like once you know the value in you attract the people that value you the same way.
Yeah, if you're struggling to know who you are and accept who you are, you're gonna attract that. But I'm not coming here to say it's easy, because I still struggle with it, and it's a daily choice to have confidence in myself, and it's work to have confidence in myself, but because I put that work in, I attract people that love me just how I love myself,
Yeah, definitely. I will say though, sometimes some people who do have disabilities, that you may have all the support you can have all the love you can have, but if you don't believe it within yourself, it's not gonna work. And like, I think that's one thing I've learned with myself. Like, I have people who love me, who support me, who give me kind words every day, but there was a certain point in my life where I did not believe anything people were saying. And I would smile and I'll say thank you, I appreciate it, but I didn't believe that for me. I think I needed to do the work to believe that for me, and to take the time to say, like, Sharice, like, you matter. Like, your presence here matters, your work matters, your energy that you put into yourself matters. So you need to work on that. And I think the more that I learn to do that, because I'm still learning, I accept myself more. And so I'm on a journey of acceptance of this disability and just myself, and I would say part of that acceptance is honestly acknowledging that CP is going to be a forever thing for us, unfortunately. I know when I was younger, I was searching for a miracle. And I think I mean, sometimes it didn't help that people were also searching for a miracle for me because they wanted something better for me. But I needed to take the time to really understand that this was going to be my life. And once I really understood that, that's when I learned to really accept who I am and accept, you know, my life. And then once I did that, it's kind of working out for me. I feel like I'm a lot more happier in where I am. Again, I'm not perfect, so I need work. But I think it's just very helpful knowing that, you know, you have to go through that process of acceptance.
You speak wise words, girl.
Thank you.
But I do want to say, to piggyback off of what she said, is that, you know, like, I think the support we give each other really does help fuel that. You know, like, when you feel you're alone, even building the confidence in yourself is hard, you know. So when she's having a hard day, we can check in, or when I'm having a hard day, I can check in with her. And just having those people. So, like, I always encourage people, like, to find somebody. If you have nobody, now you have two people. DM us, give us your numbers, give us your Instagram.
Having that community is very important.
We can be those people for you. Because we get the strength from each other, you know, along with our families. But, you know, there's no one like knowing someone understands, you know.
And I've told many of you guys, like, meeting Charlene is like one of the best things that has ever happened to me, because I don't know a lot of disabled people. Actually, I don't know my entire family. It's just me, you know, and I come from a big family, so my family were my friends for the longest time before I went to, like, college and made friends. But meeting Charlene, like, really made me feel less lonely. You know, I didn't feel like I knew I was not the only person in the world, but it felt like that. It really felt like, why does this have to happen to me? But, you know, meeting Charlene really just made me realize, like, girl, if she could do it, you could do it too. Like, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. So I really appreciate meeting Charlene, and she's been very, very helpful. So now we could just pass the message along, and I feel like through the time that I've been posting, I've met a lot of people too online, and it made me feel more like I felt like I belonged. You know, I felt like I wasn't alone anymore.
I feel the same way with you. That you really have become my family, you know.
Definitely. She's definitely my family. So if you guys have any more questions, please ask.
We're gonna be drinking wine.
Yeah, we've been sipping on some wine. Is this live going to be saved? I will try to save it. I don't know how to do this, but I'll try to save it.
Oh, that's my friend.
Okay, so yeah, there are some people here that also have CP. So
and
they've been sharing in the comments as well.
Should I scroll up and read what they said?
So this person said, "Thank you for inviting me, Charlene. As a person with CP and recovering from COVID for almost 1 year, it helps to see that we all share similar experiences and confirm that we are not alone."
That's my friend Lizette. I love you, Lizette.
Definitely, we are not alone.
And I know Sharaya is also on here. She also has CP. I know she was commenting about, like, what is difficult with CP. She mentioned about going food shopping, which is really
food shopping is a big thing.
I spend money. I have people I order online and they deliver to my house.
Yes, so we can't carry a whole bunch of groceries.
No,
that's not happening. I don't know. We don't have the strength to do that. So Charlene actually told me about ordering groceries online, and then the funny part was after she told me that, we went into the pandemic. So then people started doing that anyway.
Yes.
So I think that's another. Somebody asked about, like, what kind of modifications we have to make. That's another one. Like, we can't go do large grocery shoppings. We can go pick up a few things.
Yeah.
But if we have to do a whole bunch, you can order it online.
Because literally it feels like connected to, like, if you were in the gym and lifting weights. That's similar to how it feels.
And we don't have the average strength of like a able-bodied person. We don't have that. So
laundry, food shopping.
laundry's another one.
I would say if you can outsource that or get someone to help you, that helps me a lot living on my own. I mean, currently I live with my mom because of renovations, but when I am living on my own, it helps me a lot. Cleaning I can do. I would just say do it in little bits.
Little bits, yeah. Because actually one activity could take you a long time.
Yes.
I noticed that even like maybe cleaning the bathroom, I take too long. But it's because we're also like when it comes to TP, we're a lot slower doing a lot of things.
Yes.
So something that could take an able body like 15 minutes, 30 minutes can take an hour.
Yeah.
I know that's a lot of time, but I guess with practice you learn how to shorten the amount of time. But like you really have to plan out your day and say, okay, today I'm gonna clean this, today I'm gonna clean that, so that you're not like, you know, for this amount of time that you're gonna be cleaning something.
I do have a dog too. You know, getting a support dog is helpful. But you also have to walk them and feed them, so that is another thing for me too.
And she actually taught me something about walking the dog. So we have a harness that you can wrap around your waist, and then it connects to the leash. So as she's walking the dog will always be attached to her body as she's walking.
Yeah, there's always a way. I mean, and YouTube is amazing. I literally put things in YouTube and find modifications. Yeah. So I always say help is good and it's always available, but try it yourself first because everybody wants that independence. Yeah. Whether you acknowledge it or not.
My YouTube is my father. He comes up with different modifications for me. And then usually like I'll come to him and say, okay, how can I do this? And then we'll kind of come up with a plan to kind of do it and like test it out to see if it works. And once it works, I'm like, okay, this is something that I could do like on a daily basis. Yeah. But definitely little things like chores, cooking, like it really does take time.
It does.
So you really have to plan ahead.
Yeah.
At everything that you do.
I know, but cooking, I know you say I don't cook for you. I will cook for you. But like cooking, I have to use the stronger side of my body. So the left side of my body is the stronger side. Yeah. So using my right side to lift the pot.
So your right side is the weaker one.
Yeah. Okay. So lifting the right side to lift the pot is not the smartest thing to do because it probably will fall. And, so just knowing that.
A lot of things drop a lot. I fall a lot.
Yes.
That happens. Like we said, because we have a weaker side. So if we're not careful, things can fall to the floor.
I would say always get up though, because I've fallen a lot, but I've never stayed down.
Yeah, no, you get up. You get up. There have been times where I have fallen when my family has been home, but there have been also times I've fallen where my family has not been home. But you learn to get up. The falls look scary, but I promise you, they look scary to them. It looks scary to them. Yes. Because I feel like when you see us disabled and you see us that like we fall, then you're like, oh my god, oh my god, you fell. But it's not like it's not to that point. It can be scary because we can't. You know how people fall and then they can catch their fall. We can't do that. We can't catch our fall.
Once we go down,
so
once we fall down,
everything is falling. So you have to be careful of like head damage.
Yes.
Hips.
And physical therapy does help though to teach you how to fall safely, right? Yes. So I avoid my face because I don't want to mess up my face. So I avoid my head.
So there has been times where I've been over to her house and she has fallen.
Yes,
and then I've actually gone, oh my god, are you okay? Even though I've just said that it will be people see us and they're like, oh my god, are you okay? I've done that to her, but she knows how to fall. So then I just ask her if she's okay. Okay, you okay? And I just sit there while she tries to get up. Yeah. And it'll take us time to get up, but you gotta give us the time to get up. Yes. It's just slower.
That's a good thing that you said. Like, I think people try to help without asking
how to help. I've had, like, literally, I've walked and, like, I fell on the street and strangers have had, like, tried to help me. Or even when I'm not falling, people come out of nowhere, but you're throwing me off balance when you do that. And because you don't know how I can move. So that's one thing people should also be careful. Even if your family, like, tell them what side is better. And sometimes I like the fact that people be like, oh, you want me to hold you here?
Yes.
Do you want me to hold you here?
Ask question. How can I help? Where should I hold you? Should I hold you at all? Should I just pass you your walker? Like, ask questions.
Exactly.
Because trying to help us kind of throws us off because it mentally takes work for us to figure it out. Ask questions first before you go and try to lift us off the ground or something.
I would say that for sure. again, like with our family, sometimes they already know how to help us. But you really, if you're not someone who knows me pretty well, just ask me.
My mom just kind of looks at me and is like, okay, let me know when you're out.
No, my parents actually get pretty scared like every time I fall, but I think they're just mostly afraid of like injuries.
Yeah,
and, like my dad reminds me that I am getting older, so like if I'm not careful, there's some
it's
damages
true.
that I could cause to my body
That you can't undo, like hip damage and those kind of things. I know people that have irreversible, things. So,
but if you see us trying to attempt, maybe just kind of look at us
give us
and
a
like
second.
give us a second to try. And then if I say, hey, I need help, then you can help.
Yeah, always ask before, like, assuming you need help.
Yeah. So
we got a few minutes left.
Oh.
Hi, everyone that just
Hi,
joined.
thank you. Thank you.
Should we end with the mental
Do you
health?
guys have any more questions before we have to go?
Everyone's saying thank you. You're very welcome. We're so glad that we can, do this,
And maybe we'll do it again.
I think so. We should do it.
Yeah.
Maybe,
We're gonna still do about the walk. Does anybody else have any more questions before we conclude? Ooh, sorry, Shaggy.
I'm looking for the questions. I don't see any.
You don't see
come
any,
here. Mm-mm. Everyone's just saying thank you.
Oh no.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Should I talk about the mental health?
Yeah.
So we just want to end because we're both mental health professionals. We definitely had to throw in some mental health about that because it's very important to us. So a lot of people with CP have anxiety and depression. And we definitely have experienced both of that. I know I have moments of really high anxiety and Charisse as well. And I've also experienced depression. So I think it's very important to seek out support, right? Because I think before I started like being in this field or seeking out support, I would sit a lot with my thoughts and my emotions and internalize them, and then it'd be hard for me to function really. So I would say seek out support, seek out therapy, seek out friends, seek out loved ones, and talk about it. Be honest where you are mentally with your feelings.
Definitely. Being honest with my feelings was something I did not do, but I feel like if I did, it wouldn't take me this long to get to where I am, maybe. But definitely seeking out support is very important. I know that for me, I suffered with depression for a long time, but it was kind of like in silence, because a lot of you know that I smile all the time, but actually there's something called smiling depression. And I actually just learned that pretty recently, and I realized that's something that I was doing. I was laughing with everyone smiling, but I was actually really, really sad for a very long time. School did not help, because it's like you have your family who really supports you all the time, but once you step out of that and go into the outside world, the world is not very welcoming or accepting, at all. So it really takes a lot of work to get here. And like I said before, it's not to say that I'm perfect or I've gotten to a perfect space, but I definitely am much better and have improved in my mental health since I was a lot younger. So I think really seeking that support, and you'll be surprised if you think that sometimes you don't want to talk to somebody, but once you do, they make you feel a lot better. So you just have to find that person.
Yeah, just having someone listen. Like, you don't always need the answer, right? Because we know a lot of the answers. But some days even to today, like, honestly, if I'm being 100% honest, there are days where I'm just in my feelings.
Yeah,
and just having someone to, like, listen and say, it's okay. It's okay that you're sad. It's okay that you're angry. It's okay that you're overwhelmed. And I'm here to listen to it. I'm here to listen to you. I'm here to validate your feelings. That's a social word. Validate your feelings. Like, that helps.
Mental health professionals.
Exactly.
Validate your feelings.
You don't have to always have the answers. You can just listening, and just being there, sitting with us helps,
Yeah. Definitely. I think that's a major thing. I'm trying to think of any more points to leave off with. Ask questions. I can't emphasize
Please
that
don't assume.
enough. Please
Please
ask questions, because honestly, when you're assuming, you're kind of insulting us.
Yeah, it is. It
I'm
is.
not
I
gonna
agree.
lie. I'm gonna try. I'm being very honest. You are insulting us, and because we've done a lot of work to get to where we are. We've done a lot of work to build our strength. We've done a lot of work to build the physical things that we can do, mentally, emotionally, physically, all those things. So I feel like just ask them. You're not offending us. You're not making it look the wrong way. Even if you don't feel like you have the right words, if you give me a couple of words, I got you.
Yeah, we can pull it out. We can pull it out together.
So I think, again, that is the whole point of the live. Just ask questions.
And if you can't ask it to somebody that you meet that has CP, you can come here and ask us, because we're
DMs are open.
Yes, we're very open, and I'm very honest and very transparent, mainly because we want to share stories and because we're mental health professionals, so we know the importance of that. So come to us. If you want to ask the question to somebody that has CP but you're not sure how to ask it, come to us and we can help you phrase it in a respectful way.
Yeah, definitely. I was trying to think of one more question, but I can't think of any more right now. Charlene, do you want to plug your business? Because secretary over here.
Oh, sure. So like I said earlier, I am a therapist. I'm an LCSW, which means I'm licensed by the state of New York, which I do provide therapy. I have a website. It's called JIRAservices.net. If you go on that website and you need any therapy, I do couples therapy, I do individual therapy, I do family therapy, I do child therapy. So if you're looking for a therapist and you want somebody, you can definitely go on, again, JIRAservices.net, and there's a way you can reach out to me, and whether you work with me or somebody I connect you to, like Cherise.
Well, I'm not there yet.
You'll get there. We were talking it.
But I just finished school and I am working as a therapist currently now. I'm not licensed yet, but I'm almost there. And I will also be, hopefully, have my own practice as well, like Charlene.
Yes.
But yes, I do work for a mental health place. I will put their names there. It's Blossoming Cherry Mental Health Services. If you are someone that does not know me personally, because I can't provide services. Good. I can't provide services to people I know personally. But if I don't know you, and if you've recently added me on here on Instagram, and we just met through my stories and like things I've been posting, you're more than welcome to come into the practice. We have a website. I will put it in here. You can request me online, my picture's there, or you can Google me, and I'm on Psychology Today, so people can look for me that way if they're looking for a mental health therapist as well.
Yeah. So we both have really good connections. If anyone that doesn't know us, like Cherise said, because we cannot work with somebody that knows us personally, but we're both I put my website in there. Cherise is now typing in her information.
That's it right there. Again, it's not my practice. It's through someone I work for. But if you put
Not
in...
yet.
Not yet.
Right.
She's speaking into existence. I will have my own practice one day.
Very soon.
But that's the practice that I currently work for. Again, if you go on the website, you get to choose a mental health therapist. My face will be there along with like my journey through my education and like what I do in my work. If you choose me, then we could work together. Yeah. That's all I can say for now.
Yeah, we want to thank you for being opening to listen.
One last thing is, as you know, March is CP Awareness Month. And so next year we would like to go on the CP walk next year. If I find out the date and location, I will share it to you guys. We are I don't know if anybody here is out of New York State, but we live in New York State, so we'll be putting the New York State information where they do the walk. I'll put it in my DMs, or I'll put it on my story, and we'll do the walk. We'll create shirts in support of CP.
Yes.
Again, CP awareness is not about a cure, not like, the breast cancer or like any other things that they do awareness for. It's more so to give us the opportunity for jobs, healthcare, like a reason to just really live throughout daily lives and also raise money for the cause. So if you know me or know Charlene and would like to join for the walk next year, please do. We really appreciate it.
Yes, DM us and we'll get the information and we were able to share it with everyone.
Yeah.
Can I be
the
my
live next
gosh.
time? Yes, you can
My
be on the live next.
Yes.
You can be on the live next time if we plan to do the live again. I would have to figure out something else that we could talk about.
I guess
Maybe-
we could get the parents on the live next time.
Yeah, maybe you can get a parent's perspective on how they raise kids with CP.
We will talk about that. We will. We will.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I have.
I just want to say thank you for tuning in and sitting with us and being open to hear and ask questions. We really do appreciate it. And we'll definitely do this again.
We will. Thank you so much. I saw all these really nice comments. Love you
We
guys.
really appreciate your support and your love. A lot of you are connected to us personally, and we just want to say a minute to thank you all, our family, our friends, our loved ones. We really do appreciate you. We couldn't be who we are without you. So
Definitely. Love you guys. Thank
you.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Wait, are you sure? No, don't end it.
It's done.